What's up everyone, it's Bruce Waha. Hope y'all having a good day. Today's episode we're talking about EMEDS, everything to get there, during, and back again. Now most of you may never have even actually heard of EMEDS, and that's perfectly fine. Or maybe you've actually heard of it, or you've been assigned to the team and you're still not really sure what it is that you're going to be doing. This episode is definitely for you then. Before we get started, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing here at Wallet Heart. Alright, let's get into it. Now, preparing your paperwork is going to be probably the most excruciating part of the entire process. It's dealing with getting your orders, getting your DTS done, and getting all of your travel documentation in order. The best thing you can do right off the bat is get in contact with someone that's gone to the course actually before you and get as much information from them as you possibly can. You can get your hands on some reporting instructions because they generally don't change. That'll actually help you in the long run. Begin acquiring your gear, begin packing, begin doing all of those things in preparation for what it is that you're going to need for this course. Please, for the love of God, check your GTC, your government travel card, make sure that it's current, make sure that it hasn't expired, check your DTS profile to make sure that you're currently assigned to your actual unit. That way you can actually have all of that information set up and pre-checked before you actually start doing and processing it. Now when it comes to your DTS, your ODTA is the person that you definitely want to go to for all of this. Now, every squadron has an ODTA, every group has an ODTA. So don't feel that you need to tackle this by yourself, because you just need to go to the squadron secretary or the group secretary, ask them who the ODTA is, and you can go to them and they should be able to assist you with this whole process. If you're still not able to find out who that is, go check your unit's resource advisor, the resource manager, and they should be able to provide you at least a proper point of contact for helping you get all this information done in adequate time. Now, the timeline for getting into this course is never ideal. So it's best to prepare for this on your own. Usually your unit training manager, UTM, will let you know, hey, you've been scheduled for this course and you'll be required to process all the paperwork. The sooner you get started on your paperwork, the better off you're going to be. So like I said, get your hands on some reporting instructions, file all the proper paperwork that you need to within your unit, make sure your DTS is good to go, make sure that your GTC is good to go. If you require a passport, make sure your passport hasn't expired or there isn't anything that's going to hinder it on that side. Now generally you'll know probably about a month out if you're going to be attending a course. As soon as you know you're going to be attending a course or you have some possible dates, start getting everything together. You probably won't actually have your RIP or your reporting instructions or any of that stuff probably until like a couple weeks out or maybe even like a week out. So do as much of this as you can on your own. That way when the actual paperwork comes through, it'll be a streamlined process for you right off the bat. If you're 2 weeks out from the course and you haven't gotten any documentation, get with your unit training manager, get with whomever that you need to at least get as much paperwork and as much prerequisites done before you actually go to the course. You don't want to be the guy that's sprinting out the door to get everything done. You want to be the guy that's supposed to fly out Friday and come Thursday you still don't have your tickets. Trust me, I've been there. You don't want that to happen to you. When it comes to your airline tickets, make sure that you talk to Sato as much as possible to ensure that all of the information is correct. Your travel dates of when you're supposed to go out is accurate. You're tracking all the information. You're going to where you're supposed to go. Returning, your dates are matched up, your time, all of that is matched up and it's ready to go. You can assign yourself a seat, and if you're interested in doing that, by all means, try and get as much of this information done and make sure that it's absolutely perfect before you go out the door. So once you actually do, you're gonna have to call Sato on their emergency line or something like that.
All right, so a little update. Turns out I was reviewing my flight itinerary for the flight back to London, and I noticed that the date was wrong on it. Now, yeah, it's my fault. I should have actually really gone through and scrubbed all the information well before I left London or left the office in general. But you know, I was such in a rush to get everything just out the door that it just slipped my mind, and that was my fault. I'll own that. But now I've contacted the emergency SATO number that's on the back of the DTS orders, and I've been on hold for 2.5 hours. And I talked to my teammates because one of them recently went through the same kind of situation, and unfortunately, they told me that this is just how it is. So stay on hold, do not hang up, and just wait to get assistance. But this is very frustrating, super frustrating, and it's Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday, so there's no telling. If it was during the week, you could just call like the I guess like the day number. But since it's on the weekend, your only option is to contact the emergency line, and just make yourself comfortable because you're gonna be there for a minute. Luckily, my friend has let me use his phone, so I called that number, and I can still use my phone to coordinate and communicate with other people. Plus, the phone numbers themselves aren't very helpful because some of the phone numbers you can't really call if you have an international number. So if you come in from overseas, one of the things that I definitely recommend is just go get like a SIM card so you can put it in your phone and start using your phone and the data. And do that just because in case you run into a situation like this, you have the ability to dial American numbers and not be charged wherever it is that you're originally based at. So I'm in the UK, so I have a UK number, but I can't really dial any numbers from that phone line. And even if I could, it would be stupidly expensive. So definitely scrub your stuff. Make sure that whenever you're packing all your gear and you're getting all that set up, that you're actually going over your paperwork as well. I know that's something that I shouldn't have to say, but you never know. You can't really just trust the system to operate the way it's supposed to be, but it is what it is. And well, just waiting.
And that's never an ideal process. You're gonna be on the phone and on hold for at least a couple of hours. I'll be sure to include the phone numbers that I used whenever I encountered those situations in the comments below, or actually I'll just put them right here for you guys. Now, if you actually find yourself having to call Sato for some kind of reschedule or anything like that, just know this is going to be a frustrating process. Know that you're going to be on hold for a significant amount of time. And do not hang up that phone. Absolutely do not hang up that phone. Just stick with it. Be on hold for that 2, 3, 4 hours that you're going to be on hold for. Because once you actually get a hold of someone, people are actually very helpful. They want to make sure that you're completely 100% ready to go by the time they hang up that phone call. But like I said before, make sure that all that information is good and perfect before you can go out the door. That way you don't even have to deal with it while you're out there. Now, procuring your bags, you're going to have to go to IT. You're going to have to go and you're going to need different bags and different pieces of equipment for this course. Now, refer to your reporting instructions and make sure that they're the most current copy of the reporting instructions for the course. For me, I went in 2022 to Camp Bullis. What you need is a modified chem bag, which that means that's all of your play, chemical equipment, your mask, your top, your bottom, your gloves, your boots, the whole thing. You're gonna need all of that, so make sure that you have all of that. You're gonna need your helmet, you're gonna need your plate carrier. You can get your hands on some knee pads or something like that. That might benefit you because you're gonna be going through different kinds of terrain and your knees will be dropping down to pick up litters and a variety of things. So that's something that you're interested, ask about it. Now, as far as your plate carrier goes, are you gonna need your plates whenever you go to this course? The answer is yes, you're gonna need your plates. If your reporting instructions say that you're gonna need your plates for this course, just go ahead and get them. And then once you arrive on location, if that changes at all, your instructors will let you know. If you actually need your plate carrier or your plates in your plate carrier, it's best to just have them on hand. It's gonna make your bag heavy. There's no question about it. But you might as well just get one of those BMT duffels that way you can carry it on your back like a backpack as opposed to trying to lug that giant satchel around, because that's just a pain in the butt no matter what you do. Now, other recommendations for different gear that you're gonna need wearing. I recommend C-clips or S-clips. That you can get those at the military clothing sales. You can get those just about anywhere. Those can be used to hold your gloves, hold your canteen, hold your shades, hold a variety of things to your actual plate carrier. You might not think that you're going to need it, but my recommendation to you is to at least have 2 S-clips with you that you can just be able to attach your gloves and other pieces of equipment that you're going to need, because it's a lot easier to carry something that's attached to your plate carrier than it is to put it in your pocket or hold it in your hand or a variety of other things. Also, have a camelback. Have a camelback that you can just strap to your back. You can have, your refreshments or whatever it is that it's going to be in there. That way it's one less thing that you have to carry in your hand or on your belt or anything like that. So if you can get yourself a camelback, I definitely recommend doing that. Okay, so now you have your paperwork ready. You have all your documentation in order. You have your reporting instructions. You've read your reporting instructions. You've reread your reporting instructions. You've highlighted areas in your reporting instructions that are specific to you. You got your tickets. You got your GTC. You got it all figured out. Now it's time to travel. So call whatever taxi company is best known in the area that's going to take care of you, pick you up at your home. If you live off base, just have the taxi come to your home. If you live on base, make sure whatever taxi company that you consult has access to the base to pick you up from your home, or try and arrange it. Whatever you can do to make sure that your ride to the training or to the airport is as comfortable as it can be. From the airport to the training course is as comfortable as it can be. So once you're in the airport and you go in to get your tickets and check in, ask about upgrades. You as a military person, this will probably be the only time that you actually have upgrades available to you without having to do anything special. So just go ahead and check in at the counter, let them know that you're a military member, and just ask about upgrades. It's not 100% that you're going to get one. Don't be surprised if you don't. But in the instance that you do, you'll be glad that you did. Especially on a long flight, you can get that upgrade to first class or business class, whatever. It's a lot better than being stuck in economy in those tiny little seats. You want to be as comfortable as you can to get there, because once you get there, it's not going to be as comfortable. Also, as a military member, I recommend that you get an American Express. You can go ahead and apply for it, and as a military member, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to get that card. Now, why American Express? Because every airport has a club that's exclusive to American Express. So that way you can get in there, you can get the free drinks, you can get the snacks, you can get the free Wi-Fi, you can get the comfortable seats, and not have to be out and about in the rest of the terminals just trying to make yourself comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Get an American Express card and you will almost always have a lounge that's accessible and specific to you. Just go ahead and get it. Vouch for it. If you never use the card, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, this is the situation you use the card for. Monitor it and just be sure to pay it off, because I think American Express requires that you pay off your balance every month. So keep that in mind. Look into the details about getting an American Express, because I guarantee the benefits will definitely be worth your while.
So I was able to fly in from London into Dallas, which was a very long flight. It wasn't super comfortable, to be completely honest, but the amenities that they provide on there was actually pretty good. The food wasn't bad either. Definitely, if you can pick your own seat, definitely make sure that you can talk to SATO or DTS or one of those systems and just request whatever seat that you want. I was in the middle seat going to Dallas, and then from Dallas going to San Antonio, I was in the middle seat as well. And it honestly could have been a lot better. I prefer the aisle seat, but I was able to get myself comfortable. So definitely work on that one. And then from San Antonio, clearing customs, nothing crazy happened. There was no real shortcut to it. Definitely ask if there's a military line, because sometimes they are there and they'll let you speed through the line. So you clear customs, then you'll do a baggage claim, which you'll pick up your bag, and then you have to recheck your bag. So it's a real easy process. You pick up your bag, you go down the hall into the next room, and then just recheck it. They just give it to the guy, they load it onto the little thing, and it goes back onto the next plane. And then you go and you check in again. So once you recheck your bag, at that point, the next thing that you're going to be doing is heading over to the next gate to catch your next flight. So it's pretty easy as well, nothing crazy. Definitely, I recommend pulling the information up on your phone and just being able to track the flight, seeing if it's on time. And again, if you get to choose your flights, I would definitely recommend giving yourself some time between the flights. You have as much control in the booking of your flight process as you can. Unfortunately for me, I did not really have the ability to do that just because of some time constraints. So I had the SATO office book all of my flights, and they did it quickly and efficiently, and I was very grateful for them being able to get on the ball for that one. And then I arrived in San Antonio and immediately grabbed my bag, went over to the USO. Go to the USO, replenish yourself on some snacks, have a little bit of downtime, rest, the Wi-Fi is there, get some water, some drinks, and at that point you can make the determination of whether or not you're going to get a taxi, have be picked up by a family member or a friend, or on the third floor across the bridge is the rental facility for the vehicle. So if you're interested in renting a car, then that's what you would actually do as well.
Finally, communication. If you're coming in from overseas to the US to do this course, most of the time there's going to be a vending machine, there's going to be some sort of store where you can go in there and you can get a SIM card. That's exactly what I did. It'll benefit you tremendously. Come in, get a SIM card, get an American number. Doesn't matter if it's only for 30 days or only for whatever the lowest plan is. Make sure that you can get a SIM card so you have an American phone number so you can use to contact local numbers and get as much data as you can on that. That way you can go ahead and use all the wireless communication apps, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, whatever it is that you use to communicate with your home base and your loved ones. Get a SIM card. It's going to be probably around $50, to have all of those things for you, but it's definitely worth it instead of constantly trying to look for a Wi-Fi signal in a place that may not even have good signal. Get a SIM card, pay the fee, do whatever you got to do for it.
If you read your reporting instructions, you'll see that there's a bus or a shuttle that's going to go from the airport to Camp Bullis. So my plan is to either rent a car or just, hang out with my friend here locally and, do those last minute errands, getting the extra items that I wasn't able to get, or just kind of, go on base and just kind of check it out, see what other additional bags or gear I could utilize while I was in the field. And then go back, turn the vehicle in, and then just catch the shuttle from there. The shuttle will be leaving from there to Camp Bullis, and then once the course is done, it'll be leaving from Camp Bullis back to there. So you should have an easy option to just rent the vehicle or do whatever you got to do.
Now you made it to Camp Bullis, and there's a whole bunch of you guys, multiple buses. You're gonna get there, you're gonna get on site, you're gonna unload your bags. My recommendation, as soon as you arrive, you're gonna get off of the bus, take your 72-hour bag, whatever it is that you're carrying on you, go down to the dorms, pick your bed. You're gonna, if it's important for you to have a plug or multiple plugs, grab one of the beds that's on the outside. They almost all have an outlet right next to them. If you're more interested in being cool, the center aisle usually has a giant fan in the front and in the back of the building. That way it keeps the entire center aisle cold. If that's the case, pack an extension cord. An extension cord's got at least 25 feet on it, so you can use one of the plugs on the outside and just drag it inside and just have a extension cord, some duct tape, some zip ties, and maybe a power strip. That way you can have all of the plugs and access to all the electricity that you need from the inside lanes as opposed to it being on the outside. As soon as you claimed your bed, go back to the buses, start grabbing your bags and bringing them to the bed that you claimed. If you go over to the USO, they have some yoga mats. I recommend picking up a yoga mat and keeping it on your bedside. That way it's at least a small comfort mat that you can put your feet on whenever you take your boots off. That way it's not automatically the cold concrete. You have a little bit of cushion there for your feet, so you can just kind of relax and stretch, do some yoga stretches if you need to, because you're probably going to need to. You're going to be doing a lot of lifting, a lot of running, a lot of different things. So being able to have a comfortable footing alongside your bed might be important to you. It definitely was for me. So go ahead and go over to the USO, see what they have available in the side lockers, and whatever it is that you're authorized to have access to, go ahead and pick it up. Now the different amenities that are available to you out there are going to be, you have your classroom, you have your male dorms, your female dorms, you have the USO, which will have vending machines for small items that you may have forgotten. There's a laundry room as well as multiple showers and restrooms. There's multiple laundry rooms as well. So you may be one of those people that, needs to wash their clothes every so often, or, you sweat a profuse amount and you didn't pack multiple, OCP tops and bottoms or undershirts, whatever. Be sure to bring the travel containers for laundry detergent. That way you can just use the laundry facilities that they have. They have multiple ones, so don't be stressed that you have to get one. You can pretty much wash every night if you wanted to. But my recommendation for your uniforms is, pack 2 sets of OCP tops and OCP bottoms and multiple sets of socks, underwear, and your brown tee, because you're going to be sweating so much, depending on when you go. In the summer, it was really nice to halfway through the day after lunch go back to my bunk, change my socks into some nice cool socks, change my shirt into a nice cool shirt, and carry on throughout the day. One of the other things that I do recommend as far as your uniform goes, that means getting the polypro undershirt, getting that neck gaiter and soaking it up with water, having hot weather socks on, having wicking underwear on. That way you're staying as cool as possible. The great thing about being out there is there's always a constant wind going. So if that wind is hitting that neck gaiter, it's keeping you cool. If it's keeping your underneath soaked a little bit, the air is going to come through there and it's going to cool you down a little bit. So whatever you can do, constantly stay hydrated, and wear whatever you can to keep you cool, because you're going to want to stay that way. Falling out from heat exhaustion or heat injury is a possibility, so you want to reduce that as much as possible. For you hooligans, there is a smoke pit. It is out there by the dumpster. Naturally, they put you in the most pristine location if you want to smoke out there. So if you got your cigarettes, you got your vape pens, you got any of that stuff, there is an area for you to smoke out there. It is not covered, so if it rains, you're getting drenched. Now, each day you're going to be required specific pieces of equipment to carry on you. They're usually right that on the whiteboard in the big classroom. It's almost always going to be your canteen, or your water source, water container, and your gloves. This is where the S-clip comes in handy for you, especially when it comes to carrying your gloves up. You don't have to put them in your pocket or anything like that. You can just strap your gloves to the S-clip and then strap them to your belt or your belt loop or whatever it is. You're not going to be required to carry your battle rattle every day, so don't think that you have to. And then, just like I said, if you have a Camelback, throw that on and just refill that. Whatever you can do to keep your hands free, it's going to be more comfortable for you to do that instead of having to constantly carry something around in your hands. You're going to need your hands as free as possible, so keep that in mind. Traditionally, the class starts at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7. Now, traditionally, the class is going to start between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, meaning that you're going to have to get up early for breakfast. Usually, breakfast starts from 5:30 to like 6:30, and my recommendation is that you go to breakfast every day, because you're going to need to. You're going to need that energy. You're going to need that nutrition to push you through the day, because if you go, whether or not it's in the hot summer of Texas or in the winter of Texas, you're gonna need that energy. They also have like granola bars and stuff like that. Grab some of those, throw those in your pocket. That way you can eat them throughout the day whenever you get hungry, because you will. So bring an extra can with you, or a canteen with you, to fill it with coffee if you're big on coffee. That's definitely something that I did. I gave up energy drinks. I haven't had energy drinks in a long time. So one of the things is that I'm usually almost always consuming coffee. And the coffee isn't phenomenal. Don't expect a whole lot from it. In fact, probably a good thing to do is bring those little instant coffee packets. That way you can just pour those in whenever the coffee isn't strong enough for you. But have like a separate container from your water or from your Gatorade or from whatever it is that you're drinking, specifically for coffee or specifically for whatever drink it is that you have with you. But whatever it is that you decide to do before duty day, after the duty day, do so intelligently. Your hours are definitely important. If you just want to lay around and relax, if you want to watch some movies, watch some shows on the laptop, you want to call home to your family, whatever it is that you want to do so intelligently, because you're going to have to be up very, very early, so you don't want to be going to bed super late. Another thing that I do recommend is having a headlamp, just a flashlight that you can strap to your head. That way, in case you need to walk around at night, you have that available to you. You have that light, and make sure that it's one of those ones that you can control the dimness on it, or the brightness to it, or change the color. That way it's not as disruptive to, your bunkmate or the other people in the dorms. Don't be that guy that has a super bright light or has their music going or any of that. Bring some wireless headphones. You're going to be in a room with like 50 other people, so be as cordial and respectful as you can for the time that you're there. No one wants to have that situation where they're just uncomfortable the entire time that they're there because of some other airman. So if you're there being in the dorm, have a headlamp with an adjustable brightness, have some Bluetooth headphones, and if you're one of those people that need constant alarms to wake up, don't be. If you have an alarm that goes off, just get up with your alarm. Don't be that guy that has 10 different alarms going off from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. going off every 10 minutes. You're just going to piss everybody off. And you don't want to be that guy. Trust me, you don't want to be that guy, because they're just not going to like you. Now, the airmen that you're going to be connected with, depending on what team that you're put on, talk to them. Learn from them. You're having all of these airmen come from around the world to a specific location with a common mission. Soak up as much as you can from your fellow airmen. You have people with years of experience in multiple avenues that can provide you insight and allow you to think outside of the box or think outside of what your norm is. Try not to be super hardcore in your training. It's just training. Learn to just listen, analyze. If you have any questions, clarify. This is your opportunity to be a mentor and to receive mentorship. So take advantage of that. Listen to the teammates that you have that have more experience. Some of them have unique perspectives and unique ways that they did something that could revolutionize your way of thinking. That way you can take that from that location and take it back to your team and your home unit. Now, a lot of these exercises are going to feel very familiar if you've been in a deployed environment before, or you've been stationed at a remote location. Me, I was when I was in Osan, I was part of the field response team, which is whenever we're required to go out to the field and pick up patients and bring them back to the medical facilities. We're the 911 for that. And before, I was in a position where really I was just learning from my teammates and being told what to do. And I had a lot of experience of how these teams are supposed to operate. What is the best way to set yourself up for these different exercises and scenarios that you're going to be part of. And this time I was placed as the lead medic. That was a very unique experience for me because I'd never been in a position to be the lead medic. I've seen lead medics and how they operate, and while I was at EMEDS, I was a lead medic for the FR team that I was a part of. So there were 2 FR teams, and I was the lead medic for one of them. I also had a lot of experience of how these are supposed to operate. I was connected with 2 other 4Ns or IDMTs, and I relied on a lot of their experience and what they know of how to deal with the field. So me being a 4A, I'm like, okay, these are the pieces of information that I know that we need administratively. So I talked to my team. I'm like, hey, this is the experience that I have. This is the experience that you have. This is the experience that you have. How can we make our team as effective as possible? And, listen. Don't necessarily feel that you have to direct everybody and everything. That negates the experience and the advantages of everything that your teammates know. So taking what you can from your teammates and come together for a solid plan. For us, since we were going out, we needed a solid plan. So as soon as we arrived on scene, we have to engage with the patients, we have to engage with the situation and what's going on with the ground, and we have to get these patients back as quickly as possible. Now, unfortunately, we ran into kind of a mass cal event, which, to be completely honest, I was a bit overwhelmed as soon as we arrived on site. There were so many different patients, and I was the lead medic, so I'm trying to figure out, as a 4A, what am I supposed to do with my teammates? The other FRT team showed up as well, and immediately the two team lead medics came together, came up with a plan, said, hey, we need to, one person needs to communicate back to the MCC and say, hey, this is the situation of what's going on here. The other one needs to set up, little stations to hand out all of the equipment. The IDMTs need to be able to call out the medical aspects of what each patient needs, and 4As need to collect as much data as they can. That way they can relay it back to the MTC. You need to see what are the avenues of transportation. Is there additional avenues of transportation available to you on site? And it just so happens that there were so many patients out there that we weren't able to fit them all in the ambulance. And so we procured a vehicle of opportunity, and I had to relay that information over to the MCC. You learn how to do proper radio etiquette, being able to communicate effectively, do a 9-line, and all of these different aspects. So being in a position as the lead medic, it was really an eye-opening experience. I thought that I had the proper amount of experience and expertise, being able to be in a situation and take ownership and command it through easy button. Then you get put into a situation, you find out, you're not as good as you thought you were. But this is where you come together with your team. You learn from your teammates, you learn from the experience that you've had, and you do your best. You don't make excuses. You learn from it as much as possible, and rely on the training that you have had. And if you have not had good training, well, maybe that's something you need to bring up with your home unit when you get back. There's a really negative connotation when it comes to these types of trainings. We're just like, oh, why do I have to do this? I already know how to do that. Yeah, maybe, but the different scenarios that they're going to throw at you while you're at EMEDS is so unique. It can't take away from it. You should go to these courses. You should want to go to these courses. You should want to learn as much as possible as you can at these courses, because the only other time that you're going to be able to encounter, training to the level that you're encountering it is either at this course or actually deployed in a deployment environment. It's either going to be actually at this course or in a deployed environment. And honestly, you probably want to get all the kinks out at the training course and not the deployed environment. So, like I said before, when it comes to the exercises, when it comes to the training, listen, learn, and clarify is going to be what you want to do the entire time that you're there. Learn from your teammates, listen to what all of your teammates have to say, and clarify on any questions that you may have. Now, some of you may be required to go to this training multiple times, given that these certificates are only good for right around 3 years. But one thing to remember is, if you find yourself as one of those airmen, just take advantage of the time that you're there. Learn as much as possible. Talk to the other airmen and just enjoy the experience, because it is preparing you for what you're going to encounter downrange. So definitely take advantage of it as much as possible. Use this opportunity to be a mentor and seek mentorship. That way you can take this from your training and take it back to your unit. Well, I hope you found that information beneficial. Thanks for stopping by with me on Wednesdays, And if you haven't already done so, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing here at Wild at Heart. I'm Bruce with Waha asking you, hey, where's your wingman? I'll take it easy.